Third episode with Guy on the Couch.
On another fucking Tuesday.
We're back.
How do we start these?
Usually with a slight disclaimer that we are adult-oriented.
I would say mature, probably. Because that one, I know 12-year-olds that would probably pick up more of this than your average 60-year-old.
We don't want that kind of chaos.
I don't want to publicly endorse it. We do. I'm going 18 plus.
Yeah.
Not.
But I mean, how many times did 18 plus keep us out of the movie theater or stealing a pack of cigarettes from the Walmart? Or
Exactly. I don't really give a shit who follows the breadcrumbs.
That was the first time I got caught with a petty crime. And it was actually not by the people of the store. It was by my father, and that was for stealing a pack of cigarettes. Because we got caught for having chain smoked about 2.5 packs. And of course, as a kid, you don't think...
everywhere.
You know, it was one of those ones where neither one of us were really fully smoking. I think we made it through about the first half.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and after that, you're just like, as a kid, whether you really want to or not, you may or may not. But you're going to go ahead with it because, I mean, hell, you're a kid. It's that influence. Especially, we just stole these cigarettes. Yeah, we're going to smoke these with all kinds of non-good things.
Welcome to fucking Tuesdays.
Fucking Tuesdays. This was from a fucking defunct store that doesn't even exist anymore. That was Mills Market.
Yeah, I got a nickname when I was, I don't know, probably around 12, maybe 15, I don't know, somewhere in there. And my nickname was Lego Thief because I'd always steal Legos. And then one time I did get caught, and that was not a good time.
This was like a small town grocery store.
Yeah.
And if it tells you anything about how long ago this was, the cigarettes were still in a main aisle.
Yeah.
In the groceries. So we just casually flip them off the shelf as we walked past, kick them along the baseboard, pick them up at the end. Man, before things were really high-tech and true security. Now it's good luck anything from anywhere at this point.
So I'm told by the smartest people on the planet, obviously, that it is very hard to rob a Walmart over a certain amount of money and get away with it. Like, once you hit a certain amount of money, they call the police and file a case against you with everything they've collected. So say you start stealing $5 at a time, and then you get, like, super comfortable and start stealing hundreds. As soon as you hit, like, the $5,000 mark or whatever, then they hit you. So
because then it's worth their while to prosecute.
And it's super funny, because I'm sure people are like, yeah, man, I'm the smartest No, they let you leave.
Yeah. Please do.
We'll build this.
I mean, them losing that much in merchandise is not going to hurt them at all.
Having previously worked in the inventory service, and for an inventory service that services Walmarts in the South, as a counter, as the person that's going through the racks and shelves counting merchandise, you are allowed a 24% error rate. 24. That's nearly a quarter of
that's how much
everything you count. You can be off by 24%, and it doesn't matter because you know what?
That's how much they make.
Negligible in their eyes. You know what? There's enough people walking around moving things, and we have enough loss overall. You know, I mean, their average loss percentages are in the 13 to 17 percentile minimum for stores. Stores expect 13 to 17% of their merchandise to walk completely out the store unaccounted for. What?
Well,
because when there are that many doing that kind of volume, it's that big box mentality.
They've saved a shit ton of money with the, what do they call it, the contactless, where you just swipe your own card and scan all your own shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my preferred method.
Most people, because everybody hates people.
Yeah.
So, isn't it funny that they designed those before COVID? They had everything ready. It's all set up. Oh, quarantine. Well, how are we going to survive? I don't know. Use all these things we've created in the last 3 years. People hate each other.
People stopped complaining. Well, there are all those people complaining like, oh, it takes a person's job.
But then again, we're the same people that are complaining that it takes that person so long to scan the merchandise that I have. I can do a better job. Well, motherfucker, they made you put, shoe on the other foot. Welcome to it. Flip side. And yet, it does still take me about the same amount of time because they have to come over anytime I have a small issue. Well, welcome to their world.
Yeah.
Sometimes they still have to call a manager over. Whether it's a person serving you or you serving yourself, they still got to call somebody over to correct the fucking mistake. But it's that accountability that a lot of people don't understand. Is like that person that's servicing all 9 of those self-service registers is responsible for all 9 of those self-service registers, as opposed to one person responsible for one register, and whatever it was off, whether it be plus or minus, they were responsible for that. Now it's a person over 9.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. Assumed responsibility. And does that person get paid anymore? Hell no.
Okay, so my entire opinion of Walmart is fuck Walmart. On to the next portion of the end of the world discussion. Because it had to start with Walmart.
Yeah.
It might end with Walmart.
I mean, Walmart would be the last thing on the planet.
They probably have more
Not
nukes
really.
than all of us.
No, their stock's going the way of the dodo. You know how Sears killed everybody else, and then it wasn't Kmart that killed Sears, was it? Might have been. I think
Well, Kmart,
Kmart was huge in like the late 80s, 90s.
yeah.
And then Walmart exploded and killed Kmart. And then now Amazon's exploding, killing Walmart.
I mean, if you're not as big as Walmart or bigger, you can't really compete with the internet.
Well, the thing is, I mean, even our local Walmart has things up to and including banking, a vision center, an automotive center. It's like there are some that have full-on restaurants and basically, and it is literally, it's a full-service, one-stop, big box store. But at the same time, lower class is expanding ever more. Service the lower class, there's your money pocket.
It's not even the lower class. You're only looking at like 20% of the true total market that shops at Walmart, which is what makes it so surprising. Like,
Well, I mean, you got
it's
to
not
figure
it's not Walmart doesn't have a huge amount of people that shop there. It's just that the people that do shop there spend a large amount of their money. Like they take 30 or 40% of some people's checks. Like, because people buy everything there. They just go to the Walmart. And that's...
But it's pretty convenient.
Well, you also have to, expand the availability. This entire county and the next county south, even, there's no such thing as a Target. You have to go north. Anywhere in 2, 3, I think 4 counties that I can think of south of us.
So Targets go to certain markets, and...
We don't have it.
No, the Bloomington is the special market, not everything else. Bloomington doesn't fit. Like, it's the anomaly here.
But see, again, Walmart is both. It's that lower and perceived upper crust. Because there's a lot of areas that are a perceived echelon that really you would consider them as not.
So
they're kind of bolstered by certain...
as we
false
perceive
identities.
reality is. So that what is normal thing, probably exactly what you think it is, because society has deemed normal. I don't remember what the hell you were even talking about. Perception. It was supposed to be the end of the world, but we got distracted by Walmart again, I think.
Because of, again, Walmart creating into the world, because
The
of its
corporate-
fingers being everywhere.
The corporate overworld. So no, I was thinking more like the biblical end of the world, because we all know we're fucked and have been for a minute. So I guess more anticipating the next move to see if... I don't think we can prevent it at this point. If the Bible is actually coming true, we're fucked. Sorta.
Okay, what separates the biblical end of the world with no true end date from the Mayan or Aztec end of the world with a finite date according to their calendar? What separates one from the other, aside from a following, a divergent understanding?
The timeline thing. everybody's thinking like we know an exact day, minute. No, fuck that.
Well, then
Like,
it would be literally a perception
It's-
thing. Perception creates reality. A bunch of people saying, these people said this is going to be the end of the world.
but not enough.
Here it is.
But not enough. There were
Was it not enough
we're at a
for-
50-50 split. Half of them adamantly are perceiving that it's not as the other 50, and that's why we're right in the middle, because it's divided 50-50 on every fucking problem on the planet right now. It's beautiful. Beautifully constructed. The left versus the right. And then I guess you've got the middle ground. But they both lean this way or that.
Y2K didn't happen either.
Yeah. No, because by the time... So they started... Everybody was worried about Y2K in like 97. Because some guy was like, oh shit, we've got 3 years until it breaks. What do you mean it breaks? Fucking breaks.
Everybody was.
Technology was
Yeah,
gonna just be
but see, that
useless.
wasn't...
common perceived.
So the first 99% of the planet believed that was a fucking problem the first day it came out in 97. We had 3 years to fix the problem and sway people over. So it became that 50-50 to more people believed it wasn't going to happen than
So
believed
let's
it.
start swaying people against the biblical.
So wait,
Because let's start presenting fact against
That's
an assumption.
excellent.
Because
That's an
there
excellent
exactly was what was happening. Let's follow common trends.
Oh, but I think... Okay, so the
Because
problem
a
is
common trend is
100%.
because it's a religious
I should have brought my
belief
Holly Bible.
upon
100% of people believe that it is the end of the world. Christian or not. Everybody thinks we're fucked. The people that say it's not are probably the people that have their head very far buried in the sand. Your normal people.
That's yeah. 99% of this county.
Oh,
like
yeah.
this
No,
is,
even the
this is
normies.
a
Even the
perceived-
normies are like, we're fucked.
No, this is a perceived Mayberry. Like, I mean,
But even the normies here know we're fucked.
how many normies do you talk to?
My mom. Not in so many words. She doesn't listen to this podcast.
We'll go have a talk. I mean,
No, but she seriously, like, she's got an emergency kit and, like...
oh, good. She's done some things she should have done a while ago.
Sort of, man. It's...
And the thing is,
Probably.
it really doesn't matter which religious end of the world you try to find. There's going to be a mass following, and then a following that is uproared because, oh shit, we don't believe this, but all of these people of this fanatical following believe this is going to be a thing.
Dude, okay, so what percentage
there
of the
you go,
world follows the
like-
Pope? Even the non-Christians, like everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, like he's one of those 50-50 characters, right? 50% of the world's like, man, this guy's great. And the other 50's like, fuck that guy, sketchy bastard.
But then at the same time, a good 30% of them, their religion that they follow is derived from the religion that he presides over. You know, you have to start following, divergent. And bless it all, there are so many divergent religions now. Oh,
All of them.
jeez.
Everybody's got their own variation of everything, like sexuality and gender. And I'm cool with it, because who gives a fuck
But,
about what you call it?
That
Yeah.
could literally be even traced back. Let's reroute to again old pagan themes.
I love
You know,
pagans.
it's
I'm a wizard.
literally taking parts and pieces of an understood believing and saying, well, I don't believe in all the other parts and pieces of that doctrine, but this one I could really dig into, and let me create other precepts and following one, ideology, and then from there, well, I don't really think that, but, and you just bit and piece. But think about localized adaptations, like there are, Inuit followings of deities of sun, moon, stars, elements of water and creatures, and then you have like as more understood and known of pagan followings of like early European era, where you have again true paganism, that again, like everything from earth elemental to what have you, there are direct lines of connection between ideologies of religion. But then you start talking into regionally specific deities, and you have multiple deities in multiple religion.
So most
like-
religions have they're demigods, they're full gods, they're all father, Zeus.
God.
Yeah. So Christianity, yeah, it has them. Jesus, demigod. I don't know, Moses probably. Anyway, I read a book one time, old, don't ask why. I was very bored. It's called A Treatise on Modern Christianity. It was written in like 1880 by, I'm assuming, a guy that probably got burned at the stake. But he was talking about like why and how they created Christianity. So Old Testament was designed to guide pagans into village type environments, right? Because without like the 10 Commandments, people were literally just raping and murdering the shit out of each other. Like, and I don't mean like just strolling along. I mean like literally your neighbor over there, he's got 3 chickens and you want them.
Kill him, take his chickens,
Take
rape
his
his
chickens.
wife, move on.
Why not? Because that's so. Yeah, Old Testament came in and was like, no, God will kill you if you do that. And people couldn't explain how. So, like pestilence and shit, you just got randomly sick or you got. I don't know if they had HIV back then. I have no idea. I'm assuming some sort of sexually transmitted something, like as a self-defense, maybe? I don't. Strange, contemplating primitive man's raping habits.
You have to figure, Christianity was a developed religion. And it developed from where, I think, was your original?
This treatise explained it as literally they took whatever of the pagan mythology and crammed them into this one thing. So like Sodom and Gomorrah, somebody's town burned down at some point and they were all raping each other. So they used this as an example of like, if you do this, God will kill you. And you could go see the cities of Sodom or Gomorrah. That's where sodomy comes from, by the way. Anyway. Okay, so way back to the end of days thing. I think the next step is the rapture. I'm not entirely certain of this. I haven't actually pulled my Bible out.
There has to be peace
literally
in Israel
just
for like 7 years or something like that.
Does there really?
Before it starts, I believe.
The rapture? I was thinking that was the one like
Right.
before all the crazy shit. It's just supposed to be a very small percentage disappears. But it's like a creepy
We all
number.
the saved
Okay, so
Truly saved.
ascend. Yeah,
Truly saved. I've been baptized a couple times and
Didn't
I don't know if they ain't taking me. If they do, they're much better people than I thought. But yeah, on books, I get it.
still trying to figure out exactly what makes this created idea any rationale of possible.
What, the rapture thing?
Yeah.
Enough people believe it, dude. It'll happen. Somebody will figure it out. Nobody's written it yet. That whole, I think God is an author. Some human has to figure out a plausible way for the rapture to happen. Is a spaceship gonna fucking come by and beam up us smart people? Is Space Force gonna draft me? I don't fucking know. Somebody just needs to write the story about it, and enough people will be like, oh shit, that makes sense. And it'll fucking happen! Oh shit, I'm screaming at the microphone.
Going back to perception.
Perception dictates reality. As we perceive, so will be. As above, so below. Magic. That's the next one though. Backtrack.
Okay, so we're literally looking at, again, conglomerate conquest at this point.
Human entertainment. That's what shapes reality. The magic of Hollywood.
Using religion as a basis?
Sometimes. So humans are
Because-
evolving. Humans are evolving past that baser need. So this treatise, once again, the New Testament was
So
written.
the underlying indoctrination under it all is a
Old Testament.
minor, literally, subnote of fuck all religion that subliminally everyone knows about, that somehow communally have been brought together through entertainment purposes and understanding of, hey, this religion believes in an almighty event called the rapture, and the rapture is going to bring about a decimation and beginning of the end of the world. And so we're basing the perception of the end of the world off of the perception of Christianity above fuck all else. which is even this literal minute thing that came to be as, again, through Old Testament, of taking over pagan religion where it was one of the few understood, aside from isolated outlier communities that were developing isolated from, which again were later brought under Christianity through fuck shit crusades and expanded knowledge. You're basically saying the end of the world is going to be based on a very minute
The end of the world is
idea.
going to be based on TikTok. Because Christianity is going the way of Walmart. And TikTok is replacing it. Your God is some Chinese guy who's setting the algorithm. Not being racist. It's a Chinese company. Like, it is literally whoever's in charge of setting the algorithms for whatever the fuck the algorithms do. Whatever team that is or person, that is God. Currently. Or maybe, I don't know, I'm not super hip. TikTok might not even be the thing anymore. But those 2 or 3 companies that keep 3 billion children across the planet entertained with who knows what? Fucking Bluey? Or...
Hey, Bluey's a good show.
yeah, but what if... You ever hand a 5-year-old a phone and they run off? Do you know what they're watching? Because some of that shit's creepy. Go back through your played history
We
sometime.
can't even count the amount of people in India.
Yeah, and most of them are young. Like, a good third of the world is of this youth, they, them generation that we don't understand. That was born with a cell phone in their hand, including the Chinese now, who were always behind that red curtain. They're experiencing the world, and the world is experiencing them, and the fucking, that east-west conglomerate is getting strange. They're sharing. Our kids are probably playing video games with Russians,
Let it
with
collapse, though. Ukrainians. That's the problem, though, is end of world, let it collapse. What's
the more I think about it, the more I think that's the world they're evolving for. And if it wasn't for fucked up adults fucking up kids, the internet probably would not be that bad of a place. It was a bunch of damaged youths designing the fucking thing. Look at us. Where do you think the algorithm started? Yep.
And so, I mean, again, there's your rapture. Like, internet ends. Majority of people can't survive at that point.
Some, like, EMP event
Think about
happens
it.
and wipes out technology.
I'd be cool with it, but most of the kids are going to be distraught.
I mean for fucking real, because that
Yeah.
takes out so much corporate communication and infrastructure gone. Your
So-
supply chains gone. Your massive populations gone.
At
Because
least,
they can't
at least like
survive without
2/3
those
would
chains.
have to be, would just starve.
Somebody already figured out the magic to it. Like, the EMPs won't work. The system...
Well, yeah, you got your, what are those cages called?
Faraday cages.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, shit like that.
Shit that, and lead, concrete. Do you know how many
I mean,
bit
most
mining?
wallets have a layer of material in it that keeps people from scanning your card.
Mine
So
doesn't. I mean, mine's old as shit. It's just leather.
I'm just hoping.
If it's lasted this long, it's a good wallet. Most wallets
It
don't
really
last that
is.
long these days.
Really nice tool, though.
Well, here's another thought concept. Rapture. People disappearing, things melting into, turning into sand. Let's figure magnetic north-south. Reverse polarization.
Isn't that, like, happening?
Yeah,
Well,
maybe.
That's the thing.
It's one of the options.
Is it a gradual or is it a sudden event?
And what
Because
effect will that have?
we've only perceived it through geologic evidence.
Yeah.
Reversal polarity in layers.
Yeah.
I don't...
And most of the time, it's when I hear stuff about it, they're like, "It's happened before, though, so it's fine." Is basically what they say.
Well, how many cataclysmic events have we had, and how many of them are tied?
What do you
to
consider
that timeline?
cataclysmic?
Well, I mean, let's.
I mean, we've had 100-plus foot tsunamis in the last 75 years, probably. That's cataclysmic
Well,
as shit, and most
What is
people
it?
have never heard of it.
Did a tsunami almost
We also
bury
have
Sri Lanka or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, like civilization-ending events were localized, because I mean, you got to figure like Pompeii. And that was
One city.
society as
Yeah.
they knew.
Pretty much the whole island, wasn't it? Or was it just?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not that big of a island. Well, especially not anymore.
But just done. And I mean, that was again. Look, we have global, colonization and communication and written history. Everything has been documented from the time we been there within documented history. So it would take mass extinction level, which is what we're talking about in what?
So we need another dark age.
Paleo.
I don't know that it needs to be another mass extinction. Like what
Well,
happened? The plague?
Plague. I mean,
That was only 1 in 3.
Couldn't
Well,
that be considered?
That was 1 in 3 though. That was a real. If it was a real plague, but I'm saying we don't need an extinction event. Like everybody's so worried about
keep
that.
Playing thermobaric catch.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude,
if we
you know
wanna
those
talk
were
about-
babies, right? Those were backpacks. Somebody carried that thing in there and then
we're
walked
just-
off.
And we're just starting. And so if things get carried away from here, again, you want to talk about mass extinction, there it is.
No, we don't. That's what I'm saying. We don't even need mass extinction to fix this. Like,
We were just on Rapture, so that's...
yeah, but the rapture is not mass extinction. The rapture is the opposite. That's like where they
Salvation.
extract the good ones,
some.
I guess. Which I know
which
a couple
would
of
be
people
like
probably.
enlightenment within Buddhism.
I don't
Different
know.
religious following.
So it's definitely in this recorded history for any of the religions. I don't know. Some of that Hindu shit's weird, man. It's super old, but I don't speak the language, so all of the translations sound funny to me.
Yeah.
But
Things are definitely lost in translation for that.
And how many times has Christianity been translated through?
a lot.
I mean, they're still coming out with
versions,
new versions. They have a new King James version. It's
So
an endless process.
Nobody speaks the language of the original.
Yeah.
So it's all interpretation, which is why, funny enough, the Jews got it right with that whole you have to learn to read and write Hebrew, one of the ancient languages. So all of them, and I'm not trying to be racist when I say that, them, like the people who are practicing Jews, speak at least one and probably two languages. Maybe not enough to actually go and live on the language, but they're supposed to practice it, I do believe. That's why that's one of the few religions I would actually consider joining. It makes a little bit of sense. I don't know what all the secrets are.
so does Buddhism.
Oh, yeah, but you don't have to join Buddhism. You can just say I'm a Buddhist. Like the Jews make you do
Following
things.
the golden rule.
You have
know,
to put in the effort to
sort
get
of.
the award.
Well, see, the thing is, it's like you start to lose me in Buddhism when you start to, talk about attaining higher enlightenment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's again when you're talking giving. I guess it would boil down to I like faith, if you wanna call it. I put my faith in materialistic things very much so. I mean, hell, that's up to and including my own balance and perceived articulation and control of a situation. I don't put much faith in abstract concepts. I very much believe in gravity. I've felt its effects numerous times.
And
But-
if I could convince you it wasn't real, would you float off?
Well, I mean,
There is evidence
we
to
live
support
in a
this.
world of pure imagination.
No, I mean, the government spent money researching this shit. I'm just throwing that out there.
Men who stare at goats.
Exactly.
But
New Earth Army
we
man.
also have,
And there's a lot more.
mathematically, you should be able to hit a wall enough times, your hand will go through a wall.
If you vibrate at a certain frequency,
The same as the wall at the same time.
yeah. And I mean,
You can phase through it.
But then again, we then
Well,
start getting into
resonance, vibing.
Man, what was it a Tesla ship?
A what now?
There was a Navy cruiser that was outfitted with
I think I know what you're talking about.
I think it was Tesla equipment, but I can't remember exactly. But they time warped and like reappeared 7 years later, I think, with people like warped halfway in and out, halfway out of the walls. Yeah, it was
Like when
dubbed
they-
ghost
Sounds
ship.
like the theme of a bad, scary movie.
They did do a movie.
That makes sense. Is this fact or movie? And could it be proven either way?
That will take some googling.
I'm just saying.
That's a random
Like-
thought. That was provoked by random vibrations.
Random vibrations. I'm not saying it's ever been proven that you could vibrate yourself through a wall. But I'm also not saying you can't. The trick is you have to really, really believe you can. If I watched you do it right now, like it would be much easier to step through the wall. Seeing through the illusion is easy once there's a hand sticking out of it, you know? But until you can see through the illusion, you're still bound by it. So maybe that's all it is. Open your mind, man. So the rapture. How could this actually happen? Aliens? I mean, aliens. Have the Simpsons done it yet?
I want to say yes, actually.
The moon opens up, Jesus comes out, and says,
the moon cracks open,
all of you with at least 12 tattoos, get your ass in the moon. We're going to party for a while, and you're going to come back and fix this shit.
Alright, Transylvania 90210.
I don't know what that is.
I mean, the moon cracking open, anyone who knows the song will understand that. There you go.
So somebody
Easter
already did this? There you go.
Easter egg.
Google that shit. Because that sounds funny as shit. Dude, I'm pretty sure that's why, like, all the gods disappeared. Jesus learned how to turn water into wine, took it back to the moon, and they've been drunk as shit ever since. They used to be ascended above alcohol, and they're just like, you know what, fuck it. These idiots are going to do what they're going to do. We might as well be drunk. Here we are, 2022. We've been in charge of ourselves.
There's no water on the moon, so...
In the moon, bro.
That party has ran dry by now.
Moon. Dude, they've got Walt Disney and ice up there. The funny part is, I don't know if I'm kidding either. I don't know how much money you have to get yourself put in the moon, but it's probably a lot. That's where they go. Like, the oldest, richest people don't die, man. They just take them to the moon. Put them in stasis. Give them a new body. Takes a little while. That might be true.
If that were possible, would you want a flesh and bone body or a robot? Well, I guess it's not a robot. It'd be...
Cyborg.
Would it, though? Because it just has your consciousness, not your...
Depends, man. Okay, so the problem right now is there's no computer that can keep up with a human brain.
Yeah.
Like...
I mean, they're working on the...
We're working on a molecular level.
Yeah.
As humans. So once
quantum computers? Is that what it is?
So quantum computers might be smarter than humans.
Yeah.
It's like... That's a weird one.
And
I'm not even entirely
to,
sure I understand it yet.
It's close to being a thing.
It is a thing.
Yeah.
They have quantum computers, and they've sworn never to release them on the internet.
Shit.
I'm wondering if they haven't, because the AI...
You can probably find them on Wish.com.
A quantum computer? They've taken...
Do you know...
Huge
Are
amounts.
you aware of Wish.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's all
Ding.
like
Wish.
fake.
That would be pretty
Shit.
funny, though.
There's a few
Little mini
interesting
version.
videos on YouTube about people. Like I just recently saw a guy he gets like 4 or 5 pieces of body armor off of Wish.com, and then he tests them out to see if they're actually what they say they are. Funny shit. But he doesn't stop till it's all destroyed. So even if it is good shit that he spent very little money on,
Sounds like
Still
Kentucky
all gone.
ballistics.
close demolition range.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Not shout outs or anything, but
No. Although I do enjoy many of his videos.
We accidentally covered a bunch of the whiteboard topics.
You do that.
Most of all
It's your fault. You're thinking about all of them in your mind.
possible.
And the way you bounce back and forth between everything. If I say you.
yeah.
Welcome to the party.
We
Over.
somehow managed to keep up and follow the lead. It makes sense to me.
Did we do the Ukraine yet? Does anybody... Any idea what's
Tonight?
going on over there? Yeah.
No.
I'm talking like current events shit.
No.
So, by the way, back to your 4 horsemen across religions
Yes?
and your New and Old Testaments.
Mm-hmm.
You realize the only shared one is famine. There are actually different names between the two.
So the Christianity one keeps popping up. I don't know if it's because we're creating it, but it's so fucking perfect so far. And I don't mean...
Prevalency.
Like, I think it's just because they update it so fucking often. Like, they just keep changing it to make it fit a little better. But here we are. Some of the shit's creepy close. Famine makes sense because everybody's been hungry, I think. At least by a standard. I mean, I don't know how many people have almost died of starvation to truly know what hunger is like. But...
Well, even in a perfect society where you don't have war and you don't have strife and you don't have, plague, you always have to worry about starvation. And the more people, the more hunger.
Well, generally...
It's a big one.
People get rich because of groups of people. Like, one person being rich literally means that they took a portion of a bunch of other people's, because everybody working at ideal optimum capacity is going to have a similar amount, right? Communism. The problem is some people are either more adept or more prone to working. Maybe the guy that invents the tractor, how many other people have worked? So inventions like that, the human intellect is what has created something other than the animal. Socialism is trying to turn us back into the animal. So pestilence, though, you get groups of people together, and there's going to be... Humans are not perfect. The meat suit's not perfect yet. There is still waste created, and if not properly disposed of, and sometimes even properly disposed of, it still creates waste, though, right?
Well, I mean, if it were the perfect,
that's
meat,
what I'm saying.
If it were the perfect meat suit, it wouldn't be so trashed already.
Yeah.
It would have been able to have absorbed the use and abuse you put it through.
I think the mental defects are the ones that have the issues with the physical body. Like, the body itself, if you went vegan, and I know everybody talks all that shit about vegan, but, like, I don't know that the human body is truly designed to eat lean meat that regularly. Mm-hmm. It's been so long since if we ever were apex predators, man, like, gathering has always been the safer, easier route. You get your hardened, badass dudes from your northern climates where you have to kill and eat protein. So, like, the original human probably came from somewhere near the equator and didn't do that. We ate coconuts and papayas and shit.
Mesopotamia was believed to be the birthplace of humanity.
And I'm not saying we didn't get protein, but red meat was not. Like, that was your... Even after civilization, you killed a cow when it was old.
Hence leads into the ideology of leaving the Garden of Eden, where you did not have to eat. The original society that we decided to leave and or were forced there out of because different global climactic events and, say, the equator was no longer the warm area.
So imagine humans with normal animal intellect. I'm not saying no intellect, just normal animal. If we were somewhere around the level of a dog, we would run in pack society like dogs, right? And all of the issues with humanity would be gone. I mean, in a normal pack of animals, predatory animals, how often do you see one die of, like, old age?
I mean, it's not uncommon.
Old, like, wolves, coyotes, and stuff, they die of old age regularly. Mm-hmm. They don't get eaten or kicked to death or stomped out or anything. Strange.
A lot of them will honestly leave pack, wander off to die. Especially in canine pack units. That's how that works.
It's interesting. Most, like, herd animals, like your cows, sheep, whatever.
Same thing.
Like, they keep moving. And as they get old and die, they fall behind and get left behind. So then they're more exposed to predators and things like that. So predators are very different. Well, pack ones are, like wolves. They'll keep the old in the middle somewhere. And you got, what is it? Like the females, and then the old ones, and then like all the younger ones.
You end up with basically like a scout.
Yeah.
And then an alpha. And then your olds. Well, no, it's scout, olds, alpha, females. And that way it's like scouts the way, the olds set the pace, the alpha follows behind them, then the females behind him.
You know, in most of the pack animals, pack hunters, it's the females that do all the work. Genetically, they're superior to us in almost every way. For some reason, they're smaller than us.
This species.
Yeah.
And a lot of species,
I'm talking about
they are
ours.
greater.
And I think that's more of that manipulation thing, man. Hollywood creates perception. Perception creates reality. For some reason, pretty dumb guys are attractive. I don't know what they broke in women to make that a thing, but women are attracted to all the wrong things. It's...
Oh, don't I know it?
Yeah. It's not, I mean, I guess it works out for me, because red flags, all of them, rapture. The Ukraine? Was that where we were at? Tanks? MiGs? World War III #2?
So, I mean, there's now what? Switzerland that's put in for NATO, and they're trying to talk Finland into NATO. And Russia's been like, nobody else joined NATO.
Yeah.
Well, everybody else was like, Russia don't invade Ukraine.
Yep.
So
And we're all just like, oh, well, sanction. Well, government action. We're not actually going to do anything because we think Ukraine is doing enough. We just give them things. You know, we're going to act like we give a fuck, but we really don't give a fuck until you do what we say you shouldn't do, which is what you did in the first place.
it's Cold War. Two dudes shoved each other. And rather than fighting, they've been arguing through a window
And
for a long
sending
goddamn
forces-
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, telephone tough guys. Since, I guess, what, 55? 1955? When the Korean War ended? That's when the Cold War started, right? And I know we had that little skirmish thing there of the Vietnam War, but that thing was so isolated. Like, as far as global scale goes, that thing was tiny. No offense, Vietnam vets, I'm not saying those that were there weren't in some shit. But that was tiny little country. Compared to World War II, at least.
But there's also virtually nothing going on in Ukraine. Like,
It's the Cold War. It's skirmishes at the beginning of the Cold War. Or at the end of the Cold War, beginning of World War III.
do we know a total Ukrainian death count?
It's up to 10,000, I think.
Soldiers and civilians.
And that's not including the
They just
mass
had a big
graves
ass...
that they've been putting down.
Oh, yeah. So I know they just had a big ass, like 3,000 or 4,000 people died in a day. They bombed some fucking city or some shit. Fool. I know they bombed a bunch of cities,
Oh,
but...
damn. That's like taking down a building.
I don't know about in the Ukraine.
Well, I mean, like, let's think about it. Again, if we're going to talk about globally, the reason not a lot of people are too awful concerned about this, oh, wow, 3,000 or 4,000 people died in one day. That's my apartment complex.
It's just enough to dictate perception, man. The news creates your perception of the world. It is these fucking crazy.
Support the downtrodden. Well, the downtrodden, to my understanding, the Ukrainian civilians have a higher Russian death count than the Ukrainian military.
So you're talking militias at that point. Just like Afghanistan.
The Russian military is literally walking in against everyone. Now, granted, they started the fuck games, but think about it from that altered perception. Think about it from their side. There's even I saw some videos of a fucking man from Texas who went to fight with the Ruskies. He went over there and said, you know what, I see their side of things. And he's fucking over there, ba-pow, for Russia. And, literally from Russia's side, every single fucking person is armed and angry at you. They are militant, whether they are Minutemen, militia, what have you. There's your opponent. We're here. We were meant to safely secure this. But the problem is, if fired upon. So they have to just walk through dumb as shit, wait to be fired on. Does this sound familiar? Anyway, when you end up with these high, quote, civilian casualties, unquote, are they really? At this point?
The news creates whatever they want you to think. Literally. I have no idea.
The only deaths they're really focusing on and talking about are the targeted women and children. They don't even mention the deaths of any males.
Go to the Congo.
I don't want to.
Any militant group you find there is probably going to be made 70% of like 15 and under.
That's not just the Congo, man. That's a lot of the world. You get into that kind of, you don't live long. So middle age, just 15.
Yeah.
That's some Dark Ages shit.
We're getting there, man. I think
some places never left it.
That's true.
The harsh truth of it. They just have advanced weaponry and the same Dark Age mentality. And I mean,
I wouldn't even advanced compared to Dark Ages. Yeah, definitely. RPGs are fucking nasty.
Like it's warped the way a lot of shit is. There's such a weird dichotomy of a blend of old and new. We have islands where people have been prohibited from going so they don't disrupt the native uninterrupted population. And it's like, how? Holy shit. So let's add those people to some of the ones that don't perceive the religious understanding of the rapture.
I'm sure they have their own version of the end of the world. Probably when some white man comes and explodifies them or some shit. Apparently they've seen white people. Like, at least one of the... I was thinking people, like, broke in to give them the word of God or some shit. I don't know if that's true at all. That might have been another movie.
Missionaries.
Bet they're delicious, though. Yeah. Vegans. What are you gonna do? I like my my long pork free ranged, no cages. Just let them eat quinoa and shit till the end of the world. Then I'm only eating vegans.
Soylent Green.
Long pork, man.
I remember when I started seeing that Soylent Green like on the shelf at Walmart.
That's why
nobody gets the reference.
That's why I want to sell snake oil.
Yeah.
Mr. Wizards, because nobody will get it. They'll be like, oh, this shit's awesome. I've heard of snake oil. That must be good.
It's your cure-all.
Fucking idiots.
Cure the cold, the flu.
Buy my shit.
It'll
And
make
if you
your
get the
penis
joke,
bigger and
buy
stronger.
it too. It will make your penis bigger and stronger.
But wait, there's more.
If it
you
doesn't-
call today, we will double your order for additional shipping and handling.
No, dude, I'm going to make it all like 100% or I don't want to call it organic, but I'm going to use the highest quality shit I can find. I'm going to dump as much magic as I can into it. And it's going to be awesome. It'll do whatever I say it's going to do on the thing. But it also might have other magical shit. I don't know. Apparently making your pecker bigger is bigger's better. So it'll do that, definitely.
Debatably. That's again a perception thing, because I could reference a cut clip from the prior episode where I would argue against bigger is better.
I mean, I guess it depends on which pill you're taking. Squats. Just do squats. That's the answer. Stressed out? Squats.
Nah, my hips are trash.
I'm not
dude.
talking to you. I'm talking to the microphone. I don't even like you. I don't care if you do squats. State of the world. We've discussed the Ukraine. Now the world as a whole.
Is circling the drain. Oh.
The Ukraine is literally just the melting pot at the moment where everybody's focusing all their rage and hatred and like, did you know you used to be able to, I don't know what the 2022 prizes are, but you could get 1,000-man army for a year for $100 million from Blackwater. I don't know how many billionaires there are in the Ukraine, but let's say there are 2.
Mm-hmm.
That's 20,000 Blackwater trained operatives.
That good?
They're decent. I mean, they're decent, yeah. Last I checked, I haven't looked into this because I always feel crazy when I do, but there's like 450,000 people employed by that company. Whatever the hell they call themselves now. Yeah. It's a wartime army.
Yeah.
And they're not all shooters. They're not all level 1 operatives. They're like, they've got truck drivers and cooks and just like it's an army. And they're better funded, less restricted, and generally prior service. So trained by a government. And if you're not at least to a certain level, they're not going to employ you unless you're at that level of employment. You know what I mean? Like, they need somebody to do everything. Unless they contract it out, I guess. There's a cat in the window again.
It's trying to join the podcast.
Let's try.
Wasn't that a chapter in the last book? Haven't read that one either. Holy shit, there's a cat in the window. Oh, it was the deja vu cat thing.
Deja vu cat thing.
Yeah. Dude, I swear, sitting in that chair one time, and just like that, the cat came. And then, like twice in a row, 10 seconds apart, the same direction. I don't know if she jumped down and like circled around just to fuck with me.
Probably.
Or if it was a straight deja vu moment. But that shit was wild. There she is again. Maybe I just didn't see her come back or something. I don't know. Deja vu cat. It's creepy, isn't it? See, we need the kitten cam. Perfect opportunity. We discussed this on one of the previous, like the kitten was doing cute things. Son of a bitch, we wouldn't even have to talk. Just cute kitten video for 17 minutes. State of the world. World War III. And?
How
Is
do
there
you
anything good?
How do you think they're doing somewhere like, I don't know, the Andes?
Probably 0 fucks given for anything under 5,000 feet elevation. Like,
Imagine taking like a 60s Land Rover across the Andes.
that sounds...
Like a lot of fun.
How high, like, are you talking, you want to go up or you just want to go across? Because...
Just want to kind of go along as much as possible. One of those kind of treks.
there are actual mountains in the Andes.
Yeah.
Like, non-vehicle accessible.
Yeah.
If you're talking summiting one of those, I don't know.
No.
Probably not going to do that in a car. Yeah, man. I mean, there are a lot of things I want to see. I got about another 13 years or so before I can do any crazy traveling. The kid, when she's 18, then whatever. We'll figure it out. Maybe before, maybe after. But factor in on an average of 13 more years. It gives me time to make a couple $1 billion.
Then we're going to need to drive down to like the Huautla Plateau in Mexico or so. Sounds like a good time.
I mean, it's 2022, my dude.
Yeah.
Good luck.
We got 13 years. Start building a vehicle now.
I mean, that'll be 2035. So we're doing the positive thing. We're hoping the world's still going to be around then.
I mean, it might be just build a buggy that can go across the wasteland. Maybe put some armor plating on it. Fuck, I don't know.
Man, the end of the world
Gotta make
sounds
it
terrible.
Texas.
I really don't want to do that.
Texas.
Well, I mean,
into the
how do you
world.
make the end of the world sound good? Heaven?
Right.
Kinda, but that shit sounds boring, man.
Heaven?
Yeah.
Then
Well,
you're
depends
talking
on which
about staying
version you've
on Earth
read.
during Rapture.
Yeah, hell, I don't want to
not
go.
disappearing.
Take all the nice people away so I don't have to feel bad anymore. And I'm not even, like, we'll figure shit out. Just get rid of all the people saving the rest of us. When you get rid of them, we'll sort it out. We'll take care of it. You guys come back and we'll have a party.
Be with the starving pygmies down in New Guinea.
There you go. I'm not, like, I don't want to say I'm looking forward to the end of the world because I'm assuming it's going to suck really bad. I'm going to be hungry, going to be tired, there's going to be a lot of dead people. It's going to suck. But then, maybe things will start getting better. I hope. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe we all die in a fucking nuclear holocaust. It's not a simulation. Even if it is, we just lost. Game over. You lose. Gave you 2,000 years, you're fucking
But do you
idiots.
continue?
I
Or
mean,
do you restart?
don't give me a
I'm
button,
out
I gotta push it.
I'm out of credits.
You give me a button, I'm pushing it. I'm wired like a 6-year-old, man. Put that shit in front of me. You mean my options are to, like, do nothing? Or play this shitty video game? Give me the fucking controller.
You're one of those kids where your mom would put something down and be like, all right, don't touch this, okay? Just
Oh,
leave it
yeah.
alone. Then as soon as she's gone,
Dude, I used to take a razor blade and open all my Christmas presents just to see what they were. She actually checked them. She said, if you rewrap these are really good. I hope she's not listening. She's gonna be mad as shit. She loves Christmas. I was curious, man.
in my old age, I've turned into a Scrooge around Christmas.
Yeah. Most people
But then
have,
I've
man.
had almost 40 years of just more and more commercialized holiday than actual holiday.
Well, that's the
So
thing.
it kind of ruins the experience.
The Christian adaptation of Christmas taking over the pagan winter solstice holiday.
Yule.
And then you have the secular overtaking of, St. Nicholas. And you have this spend, spend, spend mentality on top of the Christian overlord Jesus's birthday.
So it's pretty
Supposedly.
common in the northern, I don't want to call it frozen wasteland, but in the harder places to survive, a lot of people save all of their celebrations for the entire year for a night like Yule, which is why it's such a huge holiday. So it's not surprising that something as gigantic as the birth of Christ would have been celebrated at this. It's just funny that they tried to make it sound like his birthday was on this day.
When it would have been
When
much earlier.
the Yule celebration, the ancient magic, makes much more sense than the new Christianity bullshit.
Yeah. And there's just so much nonsense celebrating the holiday. I spend the holiday getting blackout fucking drunk and ignoring it. And generally making questionable decisions and finding out where I wake up. Last year I woke up in the hammock tent.
That was funny. I think
Christmas.
the Vikings would be proud.
Christmas was warm enough that I could be in a hammock tent.
Welcome to Indiana.
Yeah. And then tonight's supposed to be down to something like 37.
After it was like 80 degrees day before yesterday or something like that.
Yeah.
So do you think
Sounds
human
about right.
perception is creating climate change? They've convinced us it's all happening, so it just keeps happening. And the more of us they convince, the faster it happens.
Man,
I
I'll
think
go
it's the
ahead
more
and
they
tell
put
you.
carbon in the air.
Even beyond the actual events of the climate, the Earth's reaction to the events is different. 100%. I can tell you that from a subterranean basis. It does not react to the same events the way it used to. It 100% does not. And that's weird, being that it was such a constant. But,
Maybe everything you know is a lie. The simulation is only 100 years old.
well, this iteration of the understanding of it, we're not even to that 100-year mark of understanding.
Maybe.
And already it's changed to an astronomical amount. Like, used to, in the 60s, floods were unheard of. They were there in those times of year because of availability. And yet, at the same time, floods weren't an issue. 63 through 69 witnessed maybe one or two flood events. Shit, we've got over 25 a year. Now, yeah. I mean, I can go back and check the logs. We keep an accurate log of how many times we're flooded out. It's a lot. If people are changing the truth by their perception, damn, that's powerful. Because that's just such a small iteration of it.
Vibrations, right? If we emit a vibration of whatever it is that enough people get around each other and start vibrating on the same frequency, your church groups, your Cub Scouts, your whatever, the hive mind thing is much more powerful. I think that's why we do the pack animal thing, because a village can do a lot of things a human can't. Survive the night comfortably, sleep all day. Like, I get it that we've individually learned to maintain our own spaces, but we still work as a collective, very much so. We're more connected than we've ever been.
Because we have to be. There are more of us than there have ever been. Maintaining an individual is so much easier than maintaining a society. For a person to do the things required to subsist or survive
In the world we've created,
versus...
and I think that's one of the reasons we're all so unhappy with the world we've created. Because we've created a world we don't like. We've allowed it to be manipulated into something. We've allowed ourselves to be manipulated into it.
I think each generation, that kind of feeling's going to increase with each generation. Because it's the world you inherit, so they're going to be more bitter about it.
There are so few that are actually teaching the self-sustainability to our children, like the true self-sustainability, not the here, survive in the world as it is, but it's like a cross-teaching of you need to be able to survive now, but
it all goes to shit.
Here's what you actually need. Here's how you actually survive. Here's what you're going to truly need to do. And that could be for both an urban version of survival or a rural version. Because where urban doesn't have the advantage of hunting or what have you, imagine being isolated to a room, an area, a balcony, or what have you. Can you grow enough fruits, vegetables, legumes, and communal support and subsistence? There are areas in, I want to say it was like Indochina somewhere, that they literally, their rooftops and balconies have to have a certain amount of foliage growth, like plant life. And that's not only for oxygen levels, but sustainability of foods. A lot of rooftops are garden plots.
We as Westerners waste space, oxygen.
And we think community gardens are like, wow, we're doing something. No, that's a bare minimum. That's a start.
Well, with what you were just talking about, that's basically an entire community garden. Everybody will grow their one thing or two things.
Here we have to have a
balcony.
We have to have a balcony for relaxation and view.
Yeah.
that nobody ever
their
goes out
balcony
onto.
is to
Someplace
grow
nice
your
to-
subsistence, to have your chicken cages, or to have your whatnots.
That's just where I need to have my morning coffee.
So this is
You
where
know.
a village would be convenient. Every village sustains their own
But
whatever.
see, there are buildings that are villages.
Oh
And,
yeah,
like,
there's lots of
there
them.
are
And there
also
are floors.
buildings. There are also buildings that are just concrete fucking cages, where without everything that's being supplied, it is exactly that, and there is no survival there. It is just existence.
So, do you know what a Chinese skyscraper looks like? The floor level you're on is so heavily class dictated. Like, some of the floors house more people than 30 of the other floors because they're crammed in like submarine pods. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those. I think they're 4 feet wide by 6 feet long by like 34 inches or some shit. And you get a locker. That's your space. All of it.
That's not enough space for me.
It's not enough space.
I don't fit.
It's where you go to rest, and then you go back about survival.
Yeah. And they're not super cheap. Like, you have to have a job to pay for one of these. Like, it's not, well, it's $6, so we do it. Like, it's rent. You probably work on the same floor. Go to whatever amusement they have on your floor, or within a few floors of yours. And the penthouse is obviously for some rich bastard. Maybe the guy that owns the building, who is effectively the mayor of that town. I don't want anybody to have a green fucking door.
I have a green door. Come on, bitch.
Me too.
No, you'll end up in some Reformation camp because you're in a communist fucking China. They will beat you to death, and nobody will blink twice.
Guard dogs.
I think it's getting better because,
10 years hard labor.
but yeah, I mean, I still wouldn't fuck around in China, man. I want to go. I'm really afraid I'll piss somebody off, and I'm not going to be hard to find in China. They'll be talking about me for days.
White devil.
Something, I'm certain.
Equins Warcha.
That's white devil.
Easter egg.
Okay, so this is a fun one. So where's it go? Are we ascending as a species? Are we all bound for, nothingness? If we nuke the entire planet, does human consciousness just cease to exist and heaven with it? Like, are we as the physical bodies the anchor for everything else? Or are we just stepping up?
It depends on how much of record, and I literally hope it goes to, and again, we have such devices as Faraday cages and yada yada, but when all other technology fails, can an isolated piece survive? Can we replicate it? Will there be enough to replicate it to continue to build upon what's left over? And it, I think, kind of depends upon the size and scale of said cataclysmic event that brings about, shall we say, end of society as we know it. Oral history, oral traditions, those are going to be the strongest things that we know. Everything from memory, which is basically where most religions transcend from. What's
Just another
left when it's all said and done, whether that's into the world or just into this Ukrainian fuck shit, who knows?
I mean, what constitutes the world? Because it's a very human ego. We call it the end of the world.
There are so many people within, again, this localized example of a county that don't leave this county. When they do, they think they're getting a cultural experience. Oh my God, they go to the booming metropolis, to the county just north of here, which happens to be a college town. Oh man, that's such a big city. Well, man, that's because you've never been to places like Detroit or Atlanta or, go to Mardi Gras, get lost in that crowd. Go to NYC for New Year's and get lost in those masses. Go see some of the just daily examples of people in, again, you want to go to some massive populated areas. Go to like Hong Kong or some areas of Japan.
Dude, I want to
Where it's
travel
just massive
everywhere.
amounts of bodies.
So I want to start in India, I think. It's top of my bucket list as far as there is so much stuff in India. That's like ADHD dream. I would have so many things to look at. And I have so many questions.
Lots of contracts.
So many questions. Then maybe China. Like, I want to go see the things that are the most different from my own world. And India sounds safe. Of those, it sounds like the safest of those.
That would be
I don't know. North Africa.
Depends
I'd
on the
like to go to
part.
North Africa.
Depends on
I'd
the
like
part.
to do a full Rommel tour. I mean, historical value and scenery.
Talking like Morocco?
Egypt, Morocco. I mean, just
I've heard Egypt is a horrible place to visit.
a lot of areas can be.
That shit's all been so heavily documented. And I don't really want to wander around in the desert trying to find something they're hiding from me. Because that's a lot of fucking desert.
Yeah, it's kind of why I'm almost interested, because I also hate heat.
Do we have a helicopter or
And, like,
something?
Same.
So a lot of areas, of things to truly interest me and get me to a desert area, that would be one of those areas. I would definitely be intrigued by it. And that's because, like, man, my comfort range is like 56 to 66, about that 10-degree range. Get beyond that, I'm not too interested in it.
Yeah.
I can go comfortably all the way down to freezing, no problem. Below freezing, layering,
Yeah.
is definitely important.
Get out the thick coat.
I'll take cold temperatures over hot, though. I mean, you can always add more layers in a blanket. You can only
Absolutely.
get so naked before it's illegal. It doesn't matter in the desert, but goddamn, I'm not burning my pecker.
Depends on how hot and how cold. They both really suck.
Oh yeah, a lot of those subarctic expeditions where it's like massive, like, and like see my
Any
fingers
exposed
always
skin would be just
toast.
Negative
burn.
30. You
Yeah.
got about 15 minutes, man.
Nope. That's why, like, a lot of mountaineering expeditions where you're talking massive elevation with way low temperatures, low O2, just a bunch of whole lot of no, or whether you go north or south pole, those crazy subarctic temperatures. Nope.
I don't know how we got there. We're supposed to be figuring out where's it go.
And where what goes was where that one rerouted to.
The world.
like when it ends.
I don't know.
Where did Atlantis go?
Storybooks,
Nukes, bro.
advanced civilization.
Well, we start, dropping thermobarics, and there you go. Will the pyramids survive another event? Did they already survive an event? We already are starting to believe they're older than what we thought.
Yeah, the
so will they
Sphinx is-
survive another one? Or is there too much populace nearby? Because look at the areas around the pyramids of Giza. Man, I mean, there's society right up next to it. Within, all the pictures have to be taken from, the east side facing west? Because if you're west side facing east, you just see buildings built damn near all the way up to the pyramids.
Human evolution, man. We've become a virus.
Yeah.
Places we shouldn't exist.
When does the earth shake us off like fleas?
So, do you
It's-
think the Earth has its own sentience?
I think it's through different means, tried numerous times, which has brought about the numerous iterations of Homo sapien as we know it.
Do you think maybe there were like smart penguins a million years ago? Like the alpha being on the planet? Something kind of close, but not. I'm not talking jelly monsters or anything.
But like a bird of some type, quite possibly. Birds are very ancient through evolution.
Or fish.
There we go, getting into deep sea, which was primordial ooze, where, all things started. So, yeah.
What do you think blue whales think about? They have the biggest, possibly most beautiful brain on the planet. They communicate in vibrations.
How much they would like to be around a fire.
Probably not. I mean, they've got like 14 feet of blubber, literally.
Well, I mean, they couldn't exist on land. They're too heavy. They crush themselves.
Why would they want to? They're perfect. Nothing fucks with a blue whale other than humans. Arguably some kind of squid. But those things are aliens, by the way. Octopus? I don't know about squids.
Octopi are definitely very intelligent. We've tested the bounds of that.
They're aliens, man. They've got like 9 brains.
Cut up starfish into a bunch of pieces. They just become a bunch of starfish.
Oceans are weird.
Telling you. Sea cucumbers.
I don't like deep water. I'm talking deep, like hundreds of feet.
We covered this, I think, last episode.
Well, good news. I still don't like deep water.
Did we talk about music?
Oh, no, we didn't.
I mean, so the whole point I wanted to make with that was actually the Hollywood Music is a super strong version of Hollywood magic, like L.A. and New York, right? I guess Nashville, if you want to throw in the country thing. But popular music comes from one of those three places almost always. It's part of it. You move to one. If you're from the East Coast, you move to New York. If you're from the West Coast, whatever.
Music's an art, dude. And again, it's art is supposed to make you feel something.
Mm-hmm.
What does it make you feel? What genre are you listening to? And again, there are a lot of cultural adaptations of music where it's embodiments of the society. They talk about feats, accomplishments, or people or places, things that make their society what it is. Or there are religious venues of music where they dote upon the deities and the acts and the people and the worships thereof. But then there are just pure examples of music that are just meant to make you feel something. There might not even be any lyrics to the music, no vocals whatsoever, just instruments playing, just things that are meant to be pleasing, to make you feel a happy, joyous note or tune, or maybe a sad, somber tune, or something that's kind of there when you're a little bluesy. It's there's also just purely vocal. There's no words spoken, just tone, notes, humming. People will literally hum, whistle while you work.
Yeah, my wife constantly humming a tune.
It's a distraction. It's something to give you a small serotonin.
Some people don't like the silence.
No, it's been bastardized into, forms of, shall we say, music celebrities. People that are known for nothing else besides the music that they produce, whether it's truly for the value of the music or the entertainment value of the music. And I think that's where one of those things that was brought about, shall we say, the music.
You're being a fogey right now. Because you don't enjoy it doesn't mean it doesn't affect other people.
Oh no, I'm giving it its credit as an art. Because again, it's meant to make you feel something. And some people enjoy it for whatever reason. It brings them that serotonin value.
Because that's what they're supposed to listen to. This is what fits. Once again, TikTok is God. People base their moral compass off what they see on TikTok.
Some do.
Well, I keyed my boyfriend's car.
But then
if she did it on TikTok, it must be okay.
But then we again also have those people who are still trying to bring those up to the laws and values of what are you going to need to truly survive? What makes sense? What's rationale?
Well, what's the end of the world, homie?
There are still also those that are bringing their children up to gain and amass as much knowledge as you possibly can. That's not only for survival, for, monetary value, but...
But knowledge of what? If the world ends in chaos, then we have no idea what to expect. So for those prepping with food or bullets or whatever, what if it's not that kind of end of the world? It could be super fast. Right now. Somebody's just you know what? Fuck it. Nukes. Go. Do you really think they're going to...
Preparing for every eventuality is impossible.
Yeah.
It's a pick your poison. What do you believe in? That goes back to faith. Where's your faith? What kind of end of the world are you seeing coming? What do you think is going to happen? What's your perception of the future? What's your perception of the current state of the world? Everybody is feeding off different points of information because the algorithms that control whatever social media, whether it's TikTok or Facebook or what have you, there's some algorithm telling you which end of the world to prepare for.
Do you know what I'm preparing? My own body. Yep. That's what I'm taking with me at the end of the world. Me. I don't give a shit.
How are you going to prepare your children?
Oh, no. See, that's...
Oh,
I don't need any...
That's...
I'm good. I got it. If it goes out in nuclear holocaust, there ain't shit I can do. Other than that, I'll deal with it if it comes up. I need it. I'll get it.
So there you go, folks. You need it. You get it. That's how to prepare for end of the world.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me... Well, I could put 5 million rounds, 50 years worth of food for 6 people, 500 gallons of water. I could have that all right outside, and I'm good. I don't have to worry about shit.
Or teach your kids to subsist,
Okay, so...
that's the thing. who's to say what kind of end of the world it's going to be and
Kids
how to
learn.
prepare anyone?
Kids learn. That's what they do. Let them learn what they need to learn. They figure it out for themselves. If they have questions, they almost always ask. I love answering questions.
Right now, they have the technological advantage to learn from 12 billion people.
They're learning what they need to learn to survive. I hope they're teaching themselves what they need to know.
Well, everything they know right now, take it away. What do?
What does anybody do? Adapt. Or don't. I mean, the best thing you can
Do
give
or
your
die.
kids is a quick mind.
Do or die. Make or
Hopefully
break.
some physical fitness, but I mean, once again, they do what they do. Give them experiences. Like I don't know that.
Here you go, kids. This is called sowing a garden.
Yeah, definitely experiences. But some kids aren't going to like sewing gardens. Some kids are going to program computers or do comic books or whatever their art is. And I don't know that any's any better than the others. Some of them are much more valuable at like, I don't know,
And
World War III.
At different versions of different ends of the world. One will be more valuable than the other.
Yeah, but which is which?
We don't know until it actually fucking happens.
So that's the fun part about everybody trying to prepare children for shit. If we weren't trying to prepare them for this big ass test they have to take their senior year or they don't go to college, then maybe they would learn something that would be worth going to college for. Like, I like to draw.
And see,
So I'm gonna draw.
That even goes into it's hard to even tell a kid to learn a skilled trade. Learn a skilled trade because it's applicable for the state of the world now.
Robots replacing almost all the skills. Robots are replacing everything,
So
including
do we-
artists at this
So
point.
do we have them not learn a skilled trade because at the end of the world they'll be robots?
Maybe. I mean, who's to say there's enough electricity or gas or whatever to run a generator, to run a welder? Congratulations, you're great with a welder, but you got two sticks to rub together. What the hell are you going to do with them?
Even if it's for maybe their lifespan, it will be adaptive battery welding.
Maybe.
Enough to scrape by, enough to do some backyard engineering to help them subsist.
I don't know what the end of the world is. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what'll be beneficial. Maybe it really is corporatocracy. Like, we're all just go into the next 1,000 years of being slaves to the machine. Go to work, punch your card, go home. Shut up.
And
Don't leave your room.
at that case, it's teach a kid to have a mask. Here you go, corporate figure. Yes, I am happy doing what I'm doing.
Is it a
versus
mask when it's their
reality.
life?
Who knows? Do you just have to actually become happy doing what you're doing? Or do you just put on the face? Because
I'm shrugging hard. I don't know. I wish I had these answers. Like, which horse I should bet on.
well, that was the conversation brought up.
I know. That was the leave it on a question kind of thing.
Yeah.
Inspire your mind to think. Where's it go? What's it look like? What's the end of your book? If everybody's writing their own, which we all are, whether or not anybody will actually write it down is up to you, I guess. If you make it interesting enough, somebody will read it. I would think. So, yeah. Where's it go?
As far as I'm concerned, it ends with me. Have no kids, want no kids.
No afterlife?
My version, my iteration of everything that I know up to this point ends when I end. The next book, the next chapter, however you want to look at it, begins when I cross that plane. I have no inkling, even know where to start for the understanding of what's beyond death. There is nothing. There are a lot of conceptualized ideas, but I can't conscribe to a following of any of them.
What
So
if your
therefore,
perception creates your
it's all new.
afterlife?
Well, then my afterlife's going to be hella fucking boring of a lot of nothing because I've put enough thought into stop thinking about
So that's the cool part about the Christian magic. You were born Christian, so what if you still believe in a Christian heaven? Like, if you believe in nothing or Christian heaven, when it comes to the moment when you're like, man, I gotta pick one? Okay. I'm not saying all of Christianity's bad. I hope that shit does exist. It sounds super boring, but they make it, it's supposed to be nice, right? Heaven shouldn't exist, FYI. How is the perfect place gonna have half of my favorite people not in it? At least. Because that shit is prohibitive at best. You're wearing a blended shirt? Hell, you're terrible. I don't think it's exactly that extreme, but all sins are the same, right? Grape or blended fabric, lobster, whatever.
forgiveness.
Yeah, that was New Testament. Did we ever get to that? If the Old Testament was for villages, the New Testament was for cities. There we go. Fucking Tuesdays. I'm tired. I need a cigarette.
All right. Bye.